Hello and welcome to the Inquisitorial archive. My name is Kevin Rourke and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be reviewing A Time of War for Battletech. I love Battletech. I am a clan player at heart and I stick with doing the clan stuff. Though for those you know, I play Omega Galaxy of Clan Ghost Bear, so when I'm playing Inner Sphere guys, I don't give a crap what Inner Sphere guys like to try and twist and bend the honor. I go like, well, you don't have any, so shut your face. I've played to varying degrees in a lot of the previous books. The previous two editions really. And I mean the previous two editions, not the one that was for us, which is complete reprinted and done there. Second and third edition, which were just MechWarrior RPG. It's quite similar in many respects to the third edition RPG book, except for you don't have life paths, which is kind of a drawback in some ways, but I get what it is, because in the life path system in the previous book you have issues. The issues you have are that unfortunately some people will get really lucky with the rolls they roll up and some people get screwed over. It's a bit of a pain, to be perfectly honest. They've got really nice artwork in this book. That's one thing I'll get about. And they do some. There's so much background in Battletech. There's only so much they can fit into this book. You know, it's a pretty thick book. It's definitely worth it. I think it's definitely if you like Battletech and you like role playing, it's definitely worth picking up a copy. You have a life path in this, but it's not randomly rolling up. You can do the whole thing points by. You can have, this is the amount of XP you've got, go spend it, and you could just do the hunting from the ground up. However, because that can take an awful long time, not many people are that interested in going off and doing every single aspect. They do have, what nation are you from? What area of that nation are you from? These are the modifiers that we suggest for this area. You can buy off or get rid of whatever positive and negative modifiers you want. They're not tying you down, but it really does help you figure out what way you want to go with the character. The sub-affiliations are pretty cool. So if you're from the Lyran Commonwealth, you can pick that you're from Sky. The default starting point in this game is 3075, because that's round about where things were in the Jihad more recently when they started the book. It's cool because they go into details, and you have like you have the life path. You start off what kind of family you're growing up for, what kind of, you know, if you're true born or whatever, and you get to go through the life path, and each of these chooses different things. It works out pretty well. Character creation can be a little bit more complex than a lot of other RPGs. Certainly there are far more complex RPGs. You've got to go back and there's lots of charts in the book. So if you're getting wary of the charts, don't worry about it. Just you know, don't get freaked out by seeing the amount of charts in this book. It's pretty cool because they've got titles and different things for the you know, such as blood names and things, which you can well, the blood names with the clan version, but you can have titles, like you can actually be proper nobility and actually have a title. Going by the book, it's pretty nice that they actually have the lists in the book for the actual mechs and the vehicle stuff. One of the drawbacks to the books is because a lot of time people are going to want to play the actual mechs and things. Although they have the names of the mechs and they've got like the table you can roll up, what's called, depending on your nation and stuff like that, what mech you have. And they have an actual, different from the Battletech tabletop game, they have their mechanics for playing mech combat or vehicle combat. The drawback is that you don't have full-on stats for mechs in the book. So you need to go outside of the book if you want to start playing around with mechs, really, to be perfectly honest. But a lot of people are good. The thing about that is a lot of people are going to be interested in A Time of War, probably have a lot of those books, or at least have friends that they play Battletech with who have a lot of these books. The nice part is if you want to play 3085 or one of the other areas, if you have the field manual, they've been recently bringing out the field manuals, more up-to-date ones. If you have the field manual for that era, they have the augmented affiliations for at the back of these, and advice for role-playing games in these eras, which is pretty cool. You've got a lot of talents and stuff, which are nice as well. As if you own your mech, or you own whatever, if you've got income coming. But they handle enemies a lot better, I think, in this than previous ones, because you have a chart of how often you roll up and how likely the GM, for if the GM wants, they can roll up randomly you know, will the bad guys take interest? The higher your enemy rating is, the more often they might start taking interest, kind of type thing. Overall, I think the book is quite good. There's a lot of mechanics here, a lot of tables. You could certainly chop out different things, but I think if the idea of a Battletech RPG makes you ooh, then yeah, this is not for you, because you have the mechanics all here. You've got them all worked out. They've done well enough with this that you can go into a lot of detail, but you can always chop that out. There are areas I'm wary of. I know myself, I've played in 1 or 2 Battletech RPGs before. One game in particular, I have run some myself, and I'm guilty just as well, that sometimes the games, depending on the time constraints for the session and stuff, it can be very tempting to make the mech combats when you do have them quite large. The problem with this can be that, and then we of course we just said, screw it, we'll just use the Battletech rules. The problem with this is something that can grind combat and halt. When you control one guy, or even if you're controlling a couple of NPCs, when you control one guy on your side, that is your character, you'll very carefully move him, and moving mechs in Battletech can be very difficult and awkward. Well, not difficult, it's just you're worried because you make the wrong move, you can be completely screwed over. So I've seen games where, unfortunately, because of the time constraints you have on like how long you're going to run the session, and this myself, the entire sessions can be just mech combat, and that this can end up becoming the regular thing, which can be somewhat dissatisfying, particularly when the combat starts dragging on to multiple sessions. I've seen, I remember the finale of one game I was in was 3 sessions. We were fighting a big battle, and some of the parts were pretty cool, but we had to fight this fight over 3 sessions. There was a little bit of role playing inside of playing the Battletech thing. One of the players didn't even bother showing up because, like, yeah, I said, you know, this last session. It's like, yeah, but it's been the last session the last like 2 times he's been running. I'm not going to bother going. It's just taking too long. And unfortunately, because the team had to go and took so long to finish up the fight, that we had a bit of a problem in that we had 10 minutes after finishing up the fight of role playing for everyone, and that was 5 minutes, as in not 50 minutes we spent. We had 10 minutes and just 5 players, and the team was trying to wrap us up. It was like, it's very tempting to get drawn into playing Battletech, although some people might like that. It depends how you handle it. It depends what the group wants. You have to be kind of a bit more clear. I'm a bit more wary about it and how to do it, and be more mindful of that. I know later on one of the other guys did a game using specifically that previous game I was talking about was using one of the previous Battletech editions, but using a Time of War. One of the other guys played it, and he did use the Battletech rules, but he ran a little bit more fast and loose with them, and it worked out pretty well, especially because the fights weren't necessarily as hugely long and awkward. But I think they do a pretty good job of describing things in here. There's a lot of stuff to work out here. The stats for soldiers and various other people and things like, you know, how to do stuff here. There's actually one of the things I love is the you know, the random encounter table. So it's like, oh, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, all I do is like, oh, you roll up, and you could have an entire planetary evasion, or you could be accused of trees and various other things. It works out, especially because I think it'd be difficult to run the game with just this book, and that's what I mean if you want to play actual mechs and stuff. But like I said, that problem's mitigated. A lot of people who know the Battletech universe, who want to run this, are going to have at least 1 or 2 sets of record sheets which they can photocopy or whatever. It might limit their period they're starting off on. That's not necessarily a big problem. One of the things I did definitely want to mention was the screen. The GM screen for this game is, first off, just opening up here, quite nice, you know. It's got some nice, you see the mechs going around there. I believe it's a Draconis Combine. You know, don't be mistaken to think it's Comguard or you know, Blakis by the white mechs. You can definitely see a few Draconis Combine symbols on some of the mechs. But what is very nice about this, as well as the nice artwork, they have a very, very well done out section, because like I said, there's a lot of tables in the book. They have a lot of tables in this, you know. They have a lot of tables in this, but they're the tables you're going to want the majority of the time. if you have your big collection of the different or if you have your collection, not even just RPG books, but the Battletech game itself, there are a lot of books there. If you wanted to go into a hell of a lot of detail into the mechanics of doing different things like salvage and stuff like that, it's not necessarily in this book. Like, they have brief little things, but if you really want to go into that side of things, you really can. If you have the books and you want to sit down, you've got to do the maths and stuff, but you can very accurately go down and figure out exactly what's being salvaged, what state it's in, if there's any problems. There's table stuff, some of the other books, which is pretty cool. I don't think if I was running a game I'd go into that much detail about it. A lot of time I've seen people, they start off as a mercenary because you could be from any nation or whatever, which is pretty cool. I don't think, after experience from playing games where we're mercenaries and doing other things, I think the advantages of playing a house unit are being missed out. Because a house unit, when you're playing a mercenary, you want to go, hey, let's go off and be mercenaries, we'll get to have a share of the money, we'll get different things. But the problem is you're constantly worried about the money as a mercenary unit. Whereas a house unit, you do your job, oh, somebody got salvaged, well, great, but that's probably going to be taken by the bosses to go somewhere else. Or it might be left, you know, you might be given access to this stuff. You might be able to make a complete case for, hey, my mech got really badly damaged, can I, you know, get my hands on that? You play fast and loose with it. But I think a house unit takes out the worrying about all the bookkeeping and various different things that can end up happening when you want to do a game where you're playing as mercenaries, because mercenaries are trying to keep their heads above water with their money. Personally, I'd really love to do I'm not really talking about the book itself. I think I've kind of wrapped it up there, that there's a lot of mechanics there. I could come quite regularly into play, but you can definitely, you know, just kind of hand wave parts of it. But they're there if you want, if you really want to dig into it. I'd love to run a game where everyone's playing a member of the clans. The nice part about clans is you can have guys from your sphere, you can have guys who are from other clans who are now members of that clan because of the way the clans work. You could do some cool stuff with that. You'd need the right players though, and try to explain to people about how the clans actually function, which can be a hell of a headache sometimes, especially because sometimes the information isn't always as clear as it first appears. There's a lot to them. They have more recent stuff, like I'm going to talk about you know, some of the, like I said, some of the field manuals have information, there's different settings which are cool. If you wanted to introduce your friends to the universe of Battletech, there's the classic, started off in the 3040s, and you have the clans invade. But, you know, you can really get people, I remember I ran a game and the players were amazed when they were being shot at by such long ranges by these enemy mechs. They were kind of like, how are they shooting that far? How are they moving that fast? They were utterly terrified. And they quickly started doing a retreat, although they made sure to, I think they blew the hands off of one of the lighter mechs and they looted the arms off this mech. And they're trying to figure out how the hell the damn things worked. I think they sold some of them for a good bit of money. But you don't have to stick with that. You could say, hey, one of the ideas I have that you could go have a lot of fun was like, screw this, I don't, you know, if somebody said, screw this, I don't like the clans. Okay, you get up to 3049, grand. You even have to peripherally go quiet. When 3050 rolls around, 3051, no clans. Do a what if the universe kept going. You got the 3085 stuff, which I'll be honest with you, after reading the field manual, where you get to see what some of the nations and stuff like, I think that the Republic of the Sphere are a horribly evil organisation. By the looks of it. Like, they've got might have good intentions, but they're the new Comstar. It's Comstar by another name. They seem like not nice people, to put it bluntly. That's my review of the game though. There's definitely a lot of potential in Battletech. You do need, the a Town of War book. The problem is that to play the games I want to play, you need stuff like that book. Thankfully, I have a lot of those books already, so that's not a problem. But it might be a problem for some people. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.